Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alanna Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Stephen, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Stephen Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alanna, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now.
We're back.
We're back on the Mizell Show. The Mizell Show.
And Stephen is a year older.
Show. I am. Turned a big 39.
39. Last year in your 30s. How's it feel?
Last year in my 30s. It's good. I had a really good weekend with all of my favorite people. And
That'd be me.
Someone asked, yes, it'd be you and the kids. We didn't have any alone time, though, but it's okay.
Is it?
We'll
have to table that for another time.
Are you going to let me pull my birthday card out then? Like, hey, the birthday, can we do this? Let me hold on to it.
I don't know what that means.
You know what it means? Like, we...
Like, you get to do whatever you want. Like, we get to go wherever you want.
Yeah, just gonna hold it till later kind of thing.
That's fine.
Okay.
We can do that.
But the weekend was great. Someone asked me how my weekend went. I was like, Friday, went to lunch with Alanna and my parents. That was good. And then Friday night, had our kind of pseudo-regular pizza movie night with the kids. So it was like spending time with you, the immediate four, my four. And then Saturday was a very adventurous day with the Costco. Danger on a birthday. Little Costco action.
We stayed almost on the list.
Almost on the list. We bought some things that are like, okay, this is a great deal.
We bought winter jackets for the kids.
And you hear that a lot. Like,
and they were what? How cheap were they?
$15 for winter jackets.
$15 for winter jackets.
I mean, sometimes you go to Costco, like, it was a good deal. You're like, is everything a good deal? But we really only bought...
$14.
It was $14 for a jacket. And so we bought the jacket.
It has a fleece on the inside. Too.
Fleece on the inside.
Not that we're like... sponsored by Costco.
We're not Costco.
Feel free to sponsor us, Costco.
Exactly. And then
Both of us were like 8.
And then we went to a lovely Kroger pickup, which we are definitely favorites of the Kroger pickup.
Yeah.
Got the groceries, came back home. We watched some football a little bit, and then capped off my Saturday with an amazing dinner. It's probably one of my favorite restaurants in Memphis right now, like hands down. Like I like restaurants
for sure.
But Alanna introduced me a while back because she used to eat the one downtown, but now the Midtown one's our fave. Maciel's tacos, the chef's kiss. Like
chef's kiss. It is so good. It's so good. It's so clean and fresh, and you guys, the owner and the people that work there
are just awesome.
So kind.
So kind. And the food is just good. And don't take my word for it because I order the same thing every time.
I have ordered almost everything on the menu and
the crazy
never
thing
been dissatisfied.
Alanna is usually a creature of habit.
Yes.
But this restaurant, I think the last 6 times we've been there, we go there a lot. It's okay.
We go there frequently.
Alanna has actually gotten something different.
Enough that we turn in and everybody knows who we are.
Everybody knows who we are.
That's how much we go.
The kids know we turn down... What's that? Southern. They know when we're driving towards this place. Like, oh, we're going to Taco place. I'm like, no. Like, yeah,
we tried to hide it. We don't
go anywhere else.
We don't ever go.
No, yes, they know where we're going.
We love it.
Yeah, but Alanna has stepped out and really tried.
I think I've had it all.
You've had a lot of it. You really have it all.
Almost all of it. The only thing I haven't had is a quesadilla.
Which
let's get real, it's gonna slap. We're good.
And our kids like it too.
This time, I just asked Miguel, the owner. I was like, "Hey, what should I eat?" And he just ordered it for me, and it was
Manuel is his name.
Y'all, I don't know what it is.
Briggs kept calling.
It's Manuel, not Miguel.
But Briggs kept calling him Miguel.
That's that's from Coco.
Yes,
that's where Briggs got it from.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
No, but Briggs kept saying it like he knew it. But it was like, Briggs, it's not his name.
Not quite. Not quite.
But long story short, Maciel's in Midtown. Check them out. Good. So good, so fresh, good service. Check them out.
We've been there both for my birthday dinner and your birthday dinner this year.
Yeah, we did.
Like that's where we're at with this place.
And so
it's the birthday dinner.
The next birthday is Briggs,
and it won't be there.
It won't be there. Briggs is obsessed
with Red Robin.
Red Robin. Like that is
only because you guys they have iPads that he can play games on.
like that's it.
That's
like,
his threshold.
And the thing about it is, like, we've lived life. And so we are like, I hope this Red Robin in Carville holds on, because the other one
Like,
closed.
they got to. Y'all,
the
they
other one
got
on
to.
Germantown Parkway closed. I'm like,
Closed.
Closed.
On Saturday, when we're getting ready to go to dinner,
Yes.
we told them, hey, we're going to go to dinner for Daddy's birthday. Oh, you get to pick?
I was like,
Briggs.
yes.
I'm Briggs.
Yes.
So Steven says, yes. You want to go to Red Robin?
Like, no, Briggs. I don't want Red Robin. I appreciate it, but no, Briggs. We're not going to do Red Robin. So that's his threshold. So our next birthday we celebrate, sadly, won't be at Maciel. So
Unless we just go for a different day.
Yeah, but it's going to be Briggs's.
It's going to be Briggs'
thing.
in November. So, super funny. Also, last week, we've had a big 2 weeks because we have our podcast launch every other Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so that's just really what works for our lifestyle. But huge thing that happened 2 weeks ago, not last week, the week before, is we launched 2 big things. So right now, you can go onto our website, themizellshow.com, and under Mizell Tools, there's a digital download for monthly motivational. There's a phone background, and then there's a computer background.
Yes.
Most of them are sayings that Stephen and I have said throughout the podcast, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And there's 12 of them, so you have a full year's worth. You can always use them whatever order. You can use one and love it, whatever you want. You can buy them together as a set, and there's a little bit of a discount when you buy both together. Or you could just buy the mobile or just buy the desktop. So that's super fun. But also, we launched Mizell merch.
We launched Mizell merch. And so, me in the season of life that we're in, we're looking at crisp fall weather. We're looking at gear. And I'll be honest with you, I have a go-to thing in my closet. Like, I'm going to grab a hoodie. I'm going to grab a long sleeve, long shirt. I'm going to wear a t-shirt. And now I'm like, why wouldn't I just wear my stuff? And so I ordered, the hoodie. I ordered a shirt. I'm trying to talk to my co-producer into creating a long sleeve Mizell shirt.
As we launched them, Stephen goes, do we have a long sleeve? And I was like, no, we didn't do a long sleeve. Well, I guess we got to make a long sleeve. So
yeah,
I guess round 2 is going to be coming. But one of the biggest things for Stephen, he was really the mind behind our newer merch. If you've seen some of them before, we still have the old version where it's kind of like in a box and it says the Mizell Show podcast pretty big. Stephen wanted super minimal, super streamlined, and I'm obsessed with it.
I'm obsessed with it too.
It's very modern. It's still our type font for those that are into branding and marketing, and is in our colors.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think that's beautiful.
It's under Mizell Tools. And will be easier. We have a couple different types of sweatshirts. There's comfort colors on there, and then there's one that's a little bit less price point, just because for some reason comfort colors is so expensive. But they do slap. And then same thing with their hat. There's 2 hats on there. There's one that's a screen printed, the Mizell Show, and then there's an embroidered one. It's outlined there for you guys, but we're super excited about it.
We're super excited about it, and maybe I can talk to my co-producer and convince her that maybe we love some giving of thanks, and Thanksgiving's coming, so maybe we could do a little promotion and get somebody a free t-shirt or something. Who knows?
I think that's Steven's way of saying that's what we're doing.
No, but hey, guess what? I don't do it. So Alanna is the brains behind all this. So I'm not going to volunteer you something. Voluntold. So we're going to discuss it, and we will give you guys a tease.
Maybe we'll give you some deets on the next episode.
We'll see.
Very cool. Okay, what books are you reading?
I had a really good birthday week. Also, I went to see my therapist.
Hey, we love it.
My therapist.
What's your therapist's name again?
I can't tell people. It's like
why? Just say the first name.
Oh yeah, I can't even pronounce his last name. So yeah, Jason. Jason is my.
Can't even pronounce his
therapist.
last name.
He is therapist number 3 that I have gone through, and
your first one wasn't really a connection.
First one was a different season of life. Was a connection. I actually tried to get back with him, but he didn't respond. So then I went.
You got ghosted.
I got ghosted by my therapist. He was like, I can't talk to this dude.
He's too much.
He's too much. He talks too much. No. So then
he's too happy for therapy.
Yeah. Then I went to a therapist through our work, which I really truly enjoyed. She was awesome. Really good, down to earth, kind of like a grandma, motherly figure. Really enjoyed her. Paused for a little bit based on season of life, and I went back to her. She actually passed away, so it was very kind of disheartening and sad.
Okay, so one thing that I do want to cling to that you just said a couple times is that
You went, and then season of life, you didn't need to go. And I think that's important. As
Yeah.
people go into therapy or think about therapy and like processing, you don't have to be a lifer like I am. Like
Yes.
I'm a lifer. I'm a every 2-weeker for
Yeah,
the rest
she's
of my
me.
life, pretty much.
Pretty much.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it will always be like that.
You were
But
going every week.
I was going every week
so you
for
are
a year. So
yeah.
it just depends.
Yeah.
Right now it's every other week. But for Steven's kind of life, it's in chunks.
Mm-hmm.
It's as things come up. It's as he's processing, as trigger points come up, and he's like, oh, I need to process that. Or something comes up with me that then opens a wound for him, and he's like, and I'm not going to do that with you.
Yeah.
So I just think it's important and encouraging to hear somebody else, not me, say, like, see, it could be seasonal.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so, and one thing about him, I am right now signed up for once a month, but we were really able to connect and hammer some things out in that once a month. And so I met him for the first time. Everything was
In
telehealth
real life.
in real life. So we connected, but he introduced a new book to me. And, he said the name, he showed it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure my wife has this book in her library. And he was like, really? I'm like, yes. And so it's by Chip Dodd.
Voices of the Heart.
Voice of the Heart. So I've been challenged to read that book.
So this book, I've read it twice. The first time I didn't really absorb it. The second time I took it in very small chunks. And it is essentially identifying core emotions.
Yeah.
So that you can take things that happen throughout your day and lean it into, okay, I'm afraid. What is fear? Fear is actually a predicament of anxiety.
Yeah.
And in terms of health, what is the hope? So there's 8 core emotions, but there's a time of not processing them well that lends to, say, a negative sort of emotion or something that doesn't feel good. Then there's the other side. So joy being one of them, but you can't always have joy without sorrow.
Yeah.
So understanding those two components, so then you can cling to joy when you're in times of sorrow.
So why do I need to read the book? I got Alanna. I'm done.
No.
I'm gonna tell Jason, hey, bro, I got the cliff notes from Alanna, so I am
We are
good.
straight.
We're
No.
No.
There
it sounds like a really
there's
good book.
stories that Chip Dodd kind of articulates what I'm saying way better.
Okay.
And anytime I think that you read somebody's story or like can visualize what
they're
they've
going
gone
through.
through,
Yeah.
you're going to understand it better and you're going to be able to cling to it more.
No, I think that's great. So that's what I'm currently reading.
Another one that goes so great with that, just because we're on this topic, is The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown, which is an Audible book. And it was a seminar that she did, and it's in 6 segments. And the reason I say that is because to lean into your core emotions that Chip Dodd talks about, you have to be able to be vulnerable on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And so understanding the benefits of vulnerability will allow you to lean into what Chip Dodd is talking about. So I would almost, if you're an Audible while you're walking, running, maybe listen to Brene Brown while reading Chip Dodd so you can process. It's definitely a get your own copy. It's a margin, right in the margins kind of book.
No, and that's something that I'm really excited about reading that book. And with life and everything, still watching the same shows. And Alanna actually put a book down that everybody is into, and she's now moved forward to.
Seriously, The Court of Thorns and Roses or whatever.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. She couldn't do it, so she backed away from it.
I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, and that's one thing I am proud of Alanna. She doesn't if we value time, we value our ability to have time to read, to listen. And if it's not good, people, don't waste your time. Some things you just don't need to power through.
You're far too valuable. And
yes.
I think it removes the self-care that comes with it if you're just pushing yourself to finish a book because everybody else in the world likes it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yes.
So I am currently listening to The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
And it is top-notch.
Top-notch.
Chef's kiss.
She loves it.
She's so good.
Good.
But it also is so applicable. I liked Becoming. It was more her story. This is more how do you apply your life to be able to glean into what only you have.
Ooh,
which is, one of those things that I've been working on personally in therapy and through, the last 2 years.
Yes.
Which
so one thing that we also like you guys have heard us mention Dominic Lawson before. He's our podcast mentor, godfather, Don Corleone, what you want to call it. He's like the dude for us.
He is.
And he says, as you guys, create your podcast and do your podcast, you will pivot based on your season of life. And so we say all this because you guys tuning in, first of all, we appreciate you. We love the Mizell Village.
Yes.
But if you've been listening lately, you've really, hopefully, have honed in on the season of life that we're in is like overall wellness, from mental to physical to our kids to trying new things with, med solutions and all these things. But we've never talked to you about like why this is the season of life that we're in.
Side note, Dominic has an award-winning podcast that is about to go into the last season.
Yes.
Called Black is America.
It
is a must listen.
Must listen.
It is if you are on the brink of trying to figure out diversity in little ways that you can expose yourself more to what's going on, Black is America is where it's at.
Yes, and he is a phenomenal storyteller.
I need him to be my GPS system.
Yes, his voice is very strong.
If I go through some bad news, he's going to be one of the people that tells me.
You're going to choose him over Morgan Freeman?
Yes.
Oh.
One, because he could actually tell me the information. I don't know Morgan Freeman in real life. So you have to be rational.
Oh, true.
And there's a couple other people in
Dominic,
my life that if I got bad medical news, Dominic would be one of the people that needed to tell it to me.
Dominic is good. And check out his podcast. If you only want to check out one episode, I'm obsessed with the Tom Lee episode.
Briggs, listen to it. That's how good it is, y'all.
That's our threshold.
Yeah, Briggs is 4. Just so we're clear.
To a podcast.
And he listened to it. I think we're going to listen to it on the trip that we're about to take.
Yeah.
We're here for it.
But
all that to say, what Stephen was kind of leaning into is you've kind of noticed this narrative of health and wellness and us trying to figure out from a new day, which you can still go there and get 50% off your first session with code Mizell, and just what's been going on with me. And we just kind of wanted to be a little bit more open and vulnerable with that as we continue to move forward in the podcast, because there will be more people that we have on, more conversations to hopefully gleam light into maybe some things that you guys are dealing with.
Yes. And that's what's important. It's like, and we want you to take this time to also reflect on what is in your season of life. As the weather, hopefully in your area, is turning to fall, you're putting to bed your summer, and you're changing that new season. You're seeing the leaves change color. You're seeing all these things that are happening. What are you going to take a step back and be like, this is very important to me now. I see myself gravitating towards XYZ, where there's more reading or more family time or more friend time, whatever you want to call it. It's extremely important, and it's not something that just happens overnight.
Or it's a season of less. Because when you think about fall, I just thought about this imagery of like fall, the leaves are falling. When you actually look at a tree, sometimes it's better for the trees. Actually, it is better for the trees to lose all of their leaves and just hone in on what is best and what is less.
Yeah.
So you just kind of mentioned more reading, more this, more that. Maybe it's less interactions with technology. Maybe it's less interactions with Western medicine. Maybe it's actually trying to understand who you are.
Maybe it's less interactions with people, because sometimes you just gotta.
I mean, I wasn't gonna go there, but as an introvert, I felt like I couldn't say that.
But sometimes so many people are going from work to a social event to giving back to volunteering to whatever you're doing, which could be great. But like sometimes you are overloaded with interactions. You're overloaded with people, and you lose yourself in that. Like, is this something that I personally need to do to refuel me, or can I take a step back from all these social obligations, because it's exhausting sometimes?
Well, and I think that this is a little off topic but kind of on topic, but I think it's important to also think through, when was the last time you selected something for yourself? For me, Stephen,
what?
When I chose to get engaged to you and marry you was the last time I selected something for myself.
You just bought a pair of shoes.
I get that. No, I get that. But I'm talking about like bigger life things.
Yeah.
Without influence of other people. Healing and wellness and motivation is huge for the Mizell Show. And recently we had New Day Healing and Wellness on the podcast. We are super, super excited to be able to offer you guys a discount code under the name Mizell. If you hop into New Day Healing and Wellness, you can go to Red Light, you can go to the sauna, you can do the salt booth. They have so many different things to offer, and we're just so excited for you guys to be able to experience some wellness of your own. So really what we wanted to dig into with this podcast is where and why health and wellness have been so important to us.
Yeah.
And kind of picking what you actually want and not what other people want for your life.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
To think about even what do I enjoy about my current career? Where do I see myself going, my trajectory? I have no idea. Not a clue, which is terrifying to be 33 and like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's fine. But almost 2 years ago, so January of 2021, I don't know what I was doing necessarily. I was reading a lot.
Yeah.
I was digging into health and wellness. I was trying to learn more about this thing called PCOS that I have. I was diagnosed with PCOS and some underacting thyroid, not hypothyroidism, but underacting thyroid back before I had Adele. So Adele is now 7, almost 8.
Oh, God.
She was at the time, she was 6.
6. Yeah.
She had just turned 6. And I had been on that medication for 7 years.
Yeah. Before we had her.
Before we had her.
Yeah,
So
yep.
I was put on metformin and levothyroxine 7 years ago and had switched to a different thyroid medication called Armor.
Yeah.
People are familiar with those. I am not a doctor, neither is Steven. We are just kind of giving our experience just as a little disclaimer.
Yeah.
But levothyroxine doesn't actually activate your T4. You guys can do your own research. Armor does activate both your T3 and your T4 to help balance out your TSH.
But I think medicine aside, though, Boo, one of the things that you were thinking about is like, when do I come off of it? You started thinking like, when is the end of the road? Like,
we were kind of like, I think we're done having kids.
Yeah.
I think that ship sailed. So the whole reason I got Autumn was to be able to be more fertile, to have children. And now I'm not planning to have more children. So why am I on this?
And it was no end in sight. It was like, how do we wean off?
And it was just kind of like, why am I living this way?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was still on my depression and anxiety medication, Trintellix, at the time. And we have a depression episode way back when, if you guys want to reference that and kind of go back and kind of hear that story. But in conjunction with that, I just decided to go cold turkey off my metformin. Don't do that. Let me just go ahead and say that. Don't do that. Talk to your medical professionals. I did that. Bad news bears. But kind of through that, I just started to ask more questions like, what is the root cause of these issues? Because there are some things that obviously will never go away. But the reason that I was on them wasn't like mathing.
Yeah.
There was no 1 + 1 anymore. And so I got off of those. And from that, then started really looking at my relationship with food. And just this body image issues, this diet culture that I've always lived on. And actually started going to Orange Theory, which for some people, it's fine. For me, it's terrible. For people that have PCOS and have some underlying issues with maybe estrogen dominance or testosterone dominance, it's really not great to be in high interval training as long as those are for extended period of time. I was going to Orange Theory 5 days a week.
And this is all coming off the medication.
All coming off of the medication. That was my solution.
Yeah.
Which was just like, I didn't do enough research for myself. In conjunction with that, we were looking for a doctor that understood and really wanted to find the root cause.
Yeah.
Which was a doozy.
It was a doozy.
So then from there, Steven really hung in. So Steven doesn't have as many food relational issues that I do. So, which is really helpful for me because Steven doesn't see food as bad or good, or I can't eat that carbohydrate because it's a carbohydrate. Ooh, bad. So it's helpful for me to kind of balance that out. Also wanting my kids to eat and see food as neutral is important. Like, what do you want? And if you start to listen to your body, you will hear what it wants.
Yeah.
And more times than not, you're going to fuel it with what it needs.
What it needs, yeah.
So all of that. I had been to, in conjunction with all the different kinds of doctors, 8 different medical professionals.
Yes.
Until, let me back up. So I had seen an integrative medicine doctor, and she was fine. She was an MD. I was referred to her. She was fine. She was not in person. And that was hard for me.
Yeah.
So from there, I didn't feel like she was really trying to find the root cause of what was going on. And when I looked back at my labs after doing tons and tons of research, because I've even read medical journals at this point, just because I've been trying to understand what's going on. She didn't pull all of the blood work that would be needed to tell what was going on.
Yeah.
And so then if you fast forward to September, October of last year, so about a year ago, Stephen and I found out that we were pregnant with our third, oopsie daisy, after I had gotten my IUD taken out, which also, mind you, my IUD I thought was the copper one. It wasn't. It was a hormonal IUD.
Yeah.
And to each their own. If you guys want to be on birth control,
Everybody has their own decisions.
Girls Gotta Eat just recently, last Monday, not this Monday, but last Monday, released an episode about birth control and kind of all the different kinds with a doctor. So definitely a great reference point. But for me, I knew that I needed to get a baseline of what my hormones were doing, which meant take the IUD out, which then we had fertility issues, which there's also an episode on that way before.
Way back,
And so we didn't think too much of it. We were... we were protecting as needed, but we're not super concerned because we had issues before. Well, come to find out, we actually ended up getting pregnant, and then I had a hemocratic cyst rupture, which is essentially a cyst on your ovaries that is filled with blood, and it's so painful. So painful. Probably the most pain. I've had 2 kids. Probably the most pain I've ever been in my life. Jeez. Like, hands down. And so then from there, we ended up losing the baby, which you can go back to December of last year. There's an episode on how all that went down. But to Stephen and I, that was a big identifier on there is something wrong. And I would say it was the first time that I felt validity, I guess is the word I'm looking for, in what my brain was processing. And from being somebody who has been in and out of diet culture for so many years, being able to know what your body needs and wants is kind of not there anymore. You've lost all those abilities. You've learned to tune out hunger cues, this, that, or the other thing. And so kind of through that, we were with an integrative medicine doctor. We didn't see eye to eye. Stopped going to them. Switched my OB back to who delivered Briggs and Adele, which was a blessing. And really decided to come off of everything.
Came off everything.
Everything, including
we also tried
my anxiety and my depression medication.
Came off everything. We also tried another integrative solution place that, again, we didn't feel that we were getting, what we needed out of it in the current season of our life. And I think it's also really important to everybody to know when you are doing this journey, whether it be with work, whether it be with fitness, whatever, sometimes you have to take a step back and realize who is there and what their value is. We struggled a lot with expecting more out of certain populations that we have worked with, but we had to take a step back. You know what? They're just doing their job, and that's all they know how to do. We have to, as consumers, go out and find someone that's going to fit what we need, because in Western medicine, it's just a weird thing that you deal with. Like, it's only so much that some doctors can give you until you realize I need to go out on my own.
And I think through all of those, dating back to January of 2021, I knew exactly what I was going after. I knew I was going after what is the root cause so that the longevity of my health is what I'm going towards. I don't want to be on medications for the rest of my life unless it is something that my body does not make. If you're diabetic, your body does not make insulin. I am not diabetic. I am not pre-diabetic. I do not have anything that says that I have insulin resistance. I have no markers for thyroid issues. There's no reason for me to be on a thyroid medication. Zero reason. So all of that to say, I knew very clearly with each one of these doctors what my goal was, and never changed what that goal was, and still haven't. I am nowhere near the health balance that I'm longing and striving towards. But I am, Stephen is very crystal clear
about what we
on what
want.
the outcome is.
Yes, and we are also very crystal clear around, and I think it's also a beautiful symmetry that if you listen to our podcast, you hear different snippets that kind of talk to what we are going through. And I say all this because we are also crystal clear about who is along on this journey with us, finding that ideal support system, whether it be medical, whether it be emotional, whether it be mental, whatever you call it. Like, I think we're crystal clear on what we need and what we need to get out of it. And if it's not, we're going to let it go. But if it is, we're going to dig in and ask the right questions. Because a lot of times, Alanna and me, we struggle with, am I bugging them or asking them too many questions? You're like, no, I am paying them and they want to hear from us so we can have a solution. And if they don't hear from you to know what's going on in a day-to-day or week-to-week, how can they see if you're on the right plan?
Yeah.
And so you have to have that voice.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where you just continue doing that, you know?
I think it's also important to figure out what your end goal is.
Yeah.
Because without a clear end goal, you cannot determine the gaps you currently have.
Exactly.
And so as the end goal has stayed the same of figuring out the root cause, figuring out where my body's abnormalities actually are, what we did find out was I didn't need to be on metformin more than likely for all those years. I do have PCOS. I have a different kind than what was originally diagnosed with. However, PCOS has grown so much in the last 9 years that I don't even know when the 4 types of PCOS came into the medical world. So that's to no fault of anybody, other than I think that there's more technology now in sciences of what's going on. We also found out that I have nearly no estrogen, but have very, very high testosterone. But I also don't make progesterone. So you can do your own research on all those hormones and all those things. All of those you really kind of need. You need them all balanced so that your body is working optimally. And one of the biggest things about Med Solutions and really finding an integrative medicine doctor that you trust and believe in is that there is a range that has been set for from doctors. And that range changes over the years. So the amount of potassium that somebody needs to intake has changed over the years, although our bodies have not.
Yeah.
And it's to meet the demands of the food the way that it has changed, because potassium can be harder to actually get in its purest source.
Yeah.
Bananas have great potassium. Coconut water has great potassium. The opposite of potassium is sodium. So if your sodium is high, you need more potassium to balance it out so that it can flush through your liver correctly. Do your own research. Like we said, we are not doctors. But the range of potassium that a typical doctor can look at, or even your thyroid markers, is just the United States range or the global range. It's not the optimal range for you at your size, at your age. And that is really, really, really important to me as we were kind of going through this. I don't want to just be in range. I've been in range, and we have side effects that tell me that something is not right.
Yeah.
So over the last 2 years, there's been, in conjunction with figuring all this out, there's been steady weight gain, like significant weight gain. And so it's also being able to go to a doctor that no matter how much weight you've gained, being able for them to say, this medication is not an option for you, although it could have been a quick fix. It's not going to work well.
Yeah.
And really believing in what they say. You have to interview them just like you would
anything else you're doing.
A relationship partner, like a romantic relationship partner.
Yeah.
Because it is your body.
Yep.
And you only have one. So that's kind of where all this wellness and health is kind of pulled in. I would definitely suggest you need somebody who's going to help you mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 of those things can be the same person.
Yep.
Mentally and emotionally can be the same person. For me, it's 3 different people. Because I pendulum swing pretty significantly to not wanting to do anything to
doing too much.
Doing far too much. So I have to have somebody in my life that is not Steven and not one of my best friends holding me to parameters.
Yeah.
That's me. And for us, what we've determined is whatever it takes and however much money it takes, we're willing to sacrifice other things so that I'm still here at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's our goal, and that's for us to continue to work through that. And also just wanted to open up even more with some of our newer listeners and even our older listeners that's been there, why we are gravitating towards these interviews, gravitating towards these posts, gravitating towards what we're bringing to you, because we also know that that's something that a lot of people are going through in seasons and have those kind of desires to learn more. And so we're going to continue to bring you, these experts in these industries to let you hear what and why. We are in the season of healing, the season of wellness, but also just to give you more insight. So,
and it can honestly be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's so much information. It's so hard to continue to do what you need when other people that have had a degree are telling you to do something different.
Yeah. It's hard.
It also will make you feel totally insane.
Yeah.
If they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're like, I'm pretty sure there is.
For sure is. And you just have
but
to
since
continue.
these doctors say that there's not.
Yeah. And you have to continue, fighting the fight and continue to have the conversations with, we said earlier, the support system that will be there to help question if you might be doing too much, or you're like, yeah, you are on the right path, and let's go along this journey together. But as always, we appreciate you guys for listening.
And there's more to come.
Yes.
We're so excited for our next interview. I really think it will all make sense.
Continue to make sense. Please reach out to us if you have questions, thoughts,
or if you want to hear more about our story with all these different doctors and all these different things. We're happy to share more. We just don't want to push too much of our agenda onto other people. We want them to find it themselves.
Exactly. Appreciate you guys.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere, hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.